Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Mohd Wajdi bin Wazir. Today, alongside with my group mates, Mohd Irfan and Syahmi, will be presenting about cryptographic failures. So, without further ado, let's jump straight into the contents of our presentation. So, this is what we're going to be presenting today. So, firstly, we will be presenting about what is cryptographic failures, and then we will also explain the impact and consequences of the risk. Third, we are going to suggest the countermeasure for the risk, and lastly, we will provide one real-life example of the risk. Before we dive in deeper into what cryptographic failure is all about, we must first know what is cryptography. So, cryptography encompasses the tools and techniques used to protect communication and information exchange to ensure confidentiality, non-repudiation, integrity, and authenticity. Modern cryptographic techniques involve converting plain text messages into ciphertext that the intended recipient can only decode. With the rapidly changing threat environment, traditional encryption and obfuscation techniques are susceptible to compromises, exposing sensitive data through a group of potential vulnerabilities known as cryptographic failures. So, what is actually a cryptographic failure? So, a cryptographic failure is a critical web application security vulnerability that exposes sensitive application data on a weak or non-existent cryptographic algorithm. Those can be passwords, patient health records, business secrets, credit card information, email addresses, and other personal information. So, modern web application process data at rest and in transit, which requires stringent security controls for comprehensive threat mitigation. Some deployments employ weak cryptographic techniques that can be cracked with a reasonable time frame. Even with the perfect implementation of cryptographic techniques, users may avoid embracing data protection best practices, subsequently making sensitive information susceptible to sensitive data theft.
Hi, I'm Syafiq. Now I will continue with the explanation on the impact or consequences that may be faced from the risk, which is cryptographic failure. So, what might be happen if this type of risk happen? First of all, it will affect the security of an application and its data. This will lead the attackers to steal and modify data. Other than that, attackers might be able to conduct fraud and identity theft. But how? So, attackers will steal keys, execute man-in-the-middle attacks, or steal data from the server. The consequences of this risk is that the attackers can get hold of complete database that have thousands of sensitive information that can expose people with danger. You can also imagine a scenario where the credentials of an admin are stolen and the attacker gets complete control of a server. Cryptographic failures can result in irreparable damage to reputation and heavy lawsuits. Now, I will pass to the next point.
Next, I will suggest the countermeasures. So, firstly, we can enforce key rotation. So, encryption keys are susceptible to cryptographic attacks where the probability of an attack increases the longer the same key is being used. Attackers can leverage a security misconfiguration in version control systems to misuse the encryption key persistently. It is recommended that developers employ automated key generation and rotation to protect data from long-standing compromises. Additionally, the process should involve updating the keys and re-encrypt protected contents to prevent attackers from decrypting self-made backups. Other than that, we can also discard unused data. So data that is not retained cannot be compromised. It is recommended that developers ensure that applications discard sensitive data as soon as it is no longer usable. PCI data security standard compliant tokenization can help discard the sensitive information by replacing it with a non-sensitive placeholder. Truncation can also make sensitive data unreadable by removing a segment of the data.
So next is one of the real-life example of the risk. One of the risk is broken access control. So one of the famous apps that had experience on getting attacked is Snapchat. By just in a week, it get brute force augmentation had released 4.6 million username and phone numbers. So this resulted in a large leakage data of phone numbers and users' details. This could be valuable for various users. So I think that's all from us. Thank you so much.